Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, Luis? I see you got the first comment in there on the live stream. And today, as you guys can see, we're back in the garage at home with the first live stream here in a very long time. I guess the last one was Texas, and any of them before that would have been in the biggest shop. So now here we are back in a much smaller shop with way too many cars. And I might tell you guys a little bit about some of these cars. I'm not going to reveal exactly what they are yet, but I just wanted to jump on here, talk to you guys, catch up for a little bit, and maybe spill a few secrets. And we can talk about the house deal, whatever you guys want. So I'm not worried about the ranch deal, even though we're not even out of it yet. Some people were talking about it here, and I've been working with my realtor every day, and we still haven't been able to nullify the contract on the old place. And even though I've found some really cool new ones, we can't make an offer on them yet because we're still stuck buying the old house. So we're waiting on that. You have a C600 cab over in Wisconsin? That is awesome. We are not going to fix the truck frame. We're going to get this thing running and sell it, as always. I don't have any reason to actually replace the frame on that cab over. It's too far gone. It's way too far gone for that. So we should have the carburetor rebuilt and starter in it, and the new parts all came in just now, basically. So I was waiting on parts for the C600 so we get back over there and put that all together. And unfortunately, it took until whatever time it is now here in the Midwest to get all the parts in. So soon we'll have the cab over finished and sold. The jet skis will be sold tomorrow. And one car gets dropped off midday tomorrow. And in the morning, I'll be at Epicenter Garage working on that one of their Porsches with them, which I'm excited about. And what else? We've got a lot coming up here real soon. All these new cars that I have to go get. One of them is in Florida. So I know a Yaris with a newish transmission. Is it for sale? Thanks for the super chat, Anamali40. And let me kind of catch up on all the rest of these real quick. United or Chelsea? I don't have an answer for you. I don't watch football from the other side of the pond. What's the company that bought the old shop going to do with the TV wall? Watch it. They've been having the new owner had his birthday party in there, and they've been using the TV wall. So they're just kind of hanging out with it. And we are obviously waiting on the contract to be nullified on the house, voided, whatever you want to call it. And we should have, there's a new house that's a subscriber found and sent me. And I'm pretty excited about it. So we'll see if we can get that put together really quickly. I might be able to buy a new one fast. Yeah, 3 new cars. And no, I'm not doing a 1031 on the sale of the old place because the new one will be my primary residence and not a business purchase, unfortunately. So I've heard that you can't take your commercial property and 1031 it into your personal house, even if it is sort of like a building for the business. Move in with Hoovy. Yeah, he's got plenty of spare rooms. I do not have a dealer's license. Never have. Never really plan on having one. There's a bunch of requirements in Kansas, like you have to have a parking lot, you have to have a sign out front, you have to have a phone number for the business, you have to allow inspections whenever they want, and just a whole bunch of nonsense to be a dealer. I don't want to be a dealer in Kansas. And yes, I am going to sell this house. So this house will get sold after we get a new one figured out. Mopar fan, huge thanks for the super chat. There's really no point in answering that question. We've pretty much banned everybody that's ever asked about that. So how are you going to invest your cash while you wait for the new HQ? Somebody tell me how I'm going to invest. I'm not an investor. And I feel like a lot of us aren't investors. And we're in the most fearful economic times of our lives right now, where everything is like either fear or people just kind of frozen by the fear that have nothing to invest in. So I don't think anyone in this chat knows what to do in the current financial situation we're all in. Yeah, I don't think anyone knows. There's nothing to do but stack cash and hang on to it. I do agree with one of the people that said there's nothing to do with it right now. Yeah, see, invest in real estate. Don't buy anything now because it's a nightmare. Bat Goat, what's going on? Good to see you in here. And there was another one. that I wanted to answer up here. Can you sell in Kansas? You can actually kind of sell as many cars as you want, and they won't ask questions unless it's outrageous. Like I know people that have personally, without a dealer's license, sold like up to 10. They say the limit is 6, but no one knows. You can actually sell a lot of cars in Kansas, and unless you are actually being a dealer, they don't care. So that's kind of, if you keep giving them the tax money, which as a dealer, you're only paying taxes on the gain or not paying taxes on the loss. But as an individual, when you buy a car, you just pay them all the money, and they are just happy to have all the money. So that's kind of where that works out. Let's see. There were some more good ones. Yeah, interest rates are up to 8 on houses, which is a nightmare. And a lot of people are saying with inflation, you don't want to be in government bonds because the government bonds are worth less, and like debt is kind of the best place to be right now. It's crazy. I'm reading a lot of stuff right now on the economy and what inflation is going to do to it over the long term. And government bonds are what they're saying not to be in. And NFTs are fully dead. That's hilarious. Chris, I see your NFT comment there. I don't think anyone's in NFTs at all. That was a nightmare for anybody. So I feel bad for you guys that were in NFTs. And there's been a bunch of questions pop up in the chat about self-driving the Volt. It's amazing. I cannot tell you how good OpenPilot is. I think we talked about it in the Texas video. It pretty much drove me all the way to Texas with me just kind of sitting there like this in my recliner and enjoying life. And it drove me all the way back home from Texas. And it would take me to work every day. And there's an OpenPilot update coming that makes it full self-driving, which, like I mentioned in the original video, I was very excited about that. Tell me you guys aren't excited about that. A $3,000 product you put on the dash, and it will automatically stop at stoplights, and it will automatically make 90-degree turns now and automatically stop for stop signs, which is amazing. So I am very pumped about OpenPilot and the future of it. It works great. It works great. Okay, a couple of super chats here. Wow, really, Paul, thanks for your super chat, but really white or black on the K20? Is the K20 just a really good investment? Is that what you're asking? I like Honda K20s a lot. I think they're very, very good. An incredible engine. I'd love to build more stuff with the K20. I like the LS and the K series. Those are the engines that I like. I've found that they're when they're built right, they're impossibly bulletproof, the most reliable engines in the world, and dirt cheap. And that is the best engine there is. The best engine in the world is the one that costs $1,000 and is 300,000-mile reliability. And that's an LS, any of them, honestly. Except, I mean, AFM kind of puts a damper on that, but if it's not AFM, you get your 300,000. And a K series that's not being beat on too hard also can do the same thing. So that's the one. And you want coil unplugged. You want distributed ignition, fuel injection, port injection, because port injection lasts forever and never has any problems for the most part. And the engines that meet that are the K series, K20, K24, and everything GM ever made that says LS on it. Those are the best engines in the world by far. And I don't really think there's any debating that. It's only a money proposition when it comes down to engines. And cheap plus reliable means it's the best proposition there could ever be. Yeah, but Randy's a wholesale dealer. I saw somebody mention Randy from Auto Auction Rebuilds has a cease and desist, can't sell cars to the public. He has a wholesale license and can sell to any business he wants. So it's really no big deal. I do ride my boosted board all the time. Would you rather fight 100% Jake the size of Jared, or 100% Jake size Jared's? It's a great question. I don't know. My hometown built a roundabout by the O'Reillys that's shaped like a peanut. Just thought you'd find it entertaining. That is very entertaining. I love it. And yeah, if you boost your K20 to the moon, they do blow up. As you guys know, I've personally experienced that. I don't know who Daryl Brooks is. So thanks for the super chat, Mopar fan. No idea who that is. Don't care either. Thoughts on Indian motorcycles? Everything Polaris makes is absolutely amazing, obviously. They were obviously all victories, and they just kind of got rebranded and the Indian logos slapped on them. And yeah, like I love they ride so well, great power. The Indians are awesome. Do you rest enough? I think I rest plenty. I get 8 hours of sleep sometimes. And yes, it is terrible that Boosted, the company, died. There's a comment in there about that. And let's see. The 3800 series is a good engine, but it has a lot of issues like the water line routings and stuff like that. Sure, they're bulletproof and we all love them. But it's not as good as an LS. That's just kind of what it comes down to. Great engines. And then reseller, would you ever get into a triple net commercial property to rent out? I'd love to be in a bunch of triple net property and only commercial, honestly. That's kind of the win. Tyler Potter, JR is a lover, not a fighter. I love it. I love it, man. True, because I've owned D series cars on here and they were never even close to as good. So, honest opinion on the 11th gen F-150, all three engines, 4.2 V6, 4.6 V8, and the 5.4 V8. Great question. The 5.4 in the 11th gen isn't that the 3 valve or the 4 valve? I don't know which one that is. Either way, I think that's where it's pretty iffy. The 4.6 V8 is obviously really bulletproof. I had one of those and it never had a single issue. And I know everyone I've ever known with the 5.4 trucks had an issue unless it was the original 5.4s. So that's kind of my take on it. Is the 4.6 is the easy way out. Take the easy way out. That's the move. Where do you go on vacation? I usually go do car things and make videos for you guys. That's honestly kind of what every vacation turns into, because we try to upload daily here, which means if we're on a vacation, we need to be working. What's vacation? I don't believe in it. Yeah, Steve was in here saying 11th gen is the 5.43 valve runaway. I agree. We've owned plenty of those. We've time started plenty of those. Just a bad plan, top to bottom. What do you think about the Rolls-Royce Spectre? Well, I think the Cadillac, whatever they're calling that thing, what's the new Cadillac that dropped yesterday? The electric one is probably the coolest EV we've ever seen. Unbelievable. And, oh, the fiber has not frozen. There's no way. No way. It almost looks like it did, though. Okay. I did get fiber internet yesterday, which I was super excited about. And you got me scared right there. The Lyric is obviously the Cadillac SUV. The new Cadillac's the $330,000 one, handmade in Detroit, that comes out. They dropped that yesterday with the Rolls-Royce Spectre. So they're both amazing. And yes, we're running Unify at home. We're running Unify everywhere, honestly. That's pretty much all I do. So yeah, we've got the new AT&T fiber, 1 gig symmetrical running to the Unify Dream Machine, and then that's 10 gig SFPs down to the switches, and pretty much 10 gig everywhere. So if this is freezing, it's unbelievable. I don't know what to do for you guys. It's so fast. I thought I had solved all the problems. Jason, huge thanks for your super chat. I have a 2010 BMW 650i that's a flip car. One of the run flats just went flat. Should I replace them all with non-run flats or just the one tire with the run flat? Possibly, I would say get a used run flat if you can, with like a lot of tread depth remaining from eBay. So if you can, that's probably the move. You can probably get that run flat for like $250. And if you're going to replace all the tires, obviously you go to non-run flats. We all know that that's always the move, honestly. Like, just switch to non-run flats and get AAA. AAA is definitely your savior when you finally lose one of those tires and you don't have a spare, because run flat cars never have spares. Run flats on the 9bot. I like it. Terry Bishop, huge thanks for your super chat. And yeah, the Dream Machine Pro with Unify everything, their cameras, all that's one of the access points is like right there. You guys can't see it, but we're like 10 feet from an access point. You got to have an access point in the garage, because you spend most of your time in the garage and you need to be looking up how to work on, some part, rebuild something. You got to have your internet in the shop for sure, because you've got a laptop beside you, I would assume, so you could figure things out. So. Good internet in the garage is important. Celestique, there we go. That's the Celestique's that new Cadillac. Thanks, Chris. And yes, AAA at this point will take 6 to 12 hours to respond, I would say, but they get your car home for you. So there's that. Will the 987 get you looking for a 911? I'm always looking for a 911, but I'm far too poor to buy one. I just can't see myself spending the money that needs to be spent to buy a 911 Turbo S. I'd love to buy a vintage 911, but of course I'm way too poor for that. Those things selling in the $300 to $1 million range. there's just no way I'm spending that kind of money. It hurts. I'd love to own those cars, but you can't. I can't. So the garage AP is on PoE. Everything's hardwired to the APs. I don't believe in the old. Yeah, sorry, jumping back and forth really quick there, but yeah, I'd love to own any other Porsche. The Boxster is really cool, but 911 Turbo S is what I want. I just can't buy it. Just can't. And yes, it will be for sale right after the trip. If you guys have emailed me, I saw your emails, and there's an order for who wants the 987, and I'll just kind of respond in order once I decide it's time for it to sell. Let's see. What's Hoovy like behind the scenes, not on camera? He's the same. Hoovy is the same in real life and on camera. I love the Singer cars. I'll never own one of those either. I just don't see spending $1 million on one of those. One of the new cars, you guys are going to be excited about this, has a large B logo on the front. And I think it even has curtains in the back windows. And the back seats should be fully reclining. So I think we've answered pretty much what that car is. If you guys, I'm waiting for the guesses to pop up there, but it's a crazy car. Oh, somebody got it. Oh, these are electric curtains. It is not a Cadillac hearse. Hopefully there's no vacuum leaks on it. It doesn't even start, but it is the Big B. I see some people in here talking about the Big B, and that is what it is here. And it's a boat. I'm very excited to go see this new car. I bought it sight unseen. As you guys know, I only buy cars that are kind of impossible projects for the most part, just to kind of prove that we can do it over and over and over. But yeah, it's one that many YouTubers have bought and given up on. But it's the Big B, and it's the 4-door. It's not a Continental. CD9225, thanks for the super chat. Ford Fiesta 13 has power shift dual clutch transmission, needs a rebuild. It's reliable with it'll never be reliable. The power shift has never been reliable. I'm sorry. I love the Fiesta. It's really fun to drive, but it's just a really tough transmission. And they're expensive, which is crazy. So yeah, I'm going to show that comment, even though it typically gets banned. The YouTube filter automatically grabbed it there. It's not a Brougham. Yep. Andrew, you figured it out. You know what it is. Terry, huge thanks for your super chat. I'm looking for a great mechanic for my Porsche 914. I don't really know anyone that wants to work on a 914 or does personally. That's tough. You got to find a mechanic that wants to work on a really old car that's hard to work on too. So I'd say good luck. I don't think Johnny would do that. I don't want to work on a 914. I just really don't know where to go. His mom probably has an Explorer or a basic but good mom car. You've seen it on the channel before, but my mom has a Camry hybrid that now has over 300,000 and change on it. It's like I think it's a 2013, 14, and it has over 300,000 on it, and it's rocking. You guys saw we did wheel bearings on it. Is there any warranty company you would suggest, Jake? I think you're talking about aftermarket warranties, and I've had Route 66 on a bunch of my BMWs back before the channel, and they were great. They always paid for everything. In one of my cars, we ran the repair bill up. It was my 550. And we ran that bill up to $14,000 before the warranty company stopped paying out. So that was awesome. The warranty was like $1,300 or something like that. I don't know. It was part of the loan, and I think it was like $1,300. And we literally made them spend $14,000 on that BMW when I paid $10 for the car. So it was pretty cool. If you need a warranty, Route 66, and there's one other one I can't think of, but reasonable prices and the warranty stuff that they shouldn't. That's what I should do, is warranty this new car. Say it needs fixed. Am I going to SEMA? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to SEMA yet. What tech certifications do you have? A+, Net Plus, Security Plus, CWTS, MCTS, a ton of VMware certs, a ton of NetApp certs. I honestly don't know. I have almost every NetApp cert except for the developer ones. I've got a bunch of tech certs. um, if you if you're going to get tech certs, start with A plus. I feel like you should ace that without studying almost. If you grew up on computers, A plus is kind of the one where that's the one that if you kill one, you're going to do great on everything else. And then after that, Net Plus, you'll learn a lot, which is awesome. And then Security Plus is pretty common sensey, but also a great cert to have, especially if you want to get into the cybersecurity, which is where the money is now. So there you go. How did a techie become a mechanic? Because cars are computers and I love them for it. The more computers in the car, the better it is. And not the mid 2000s junk. 2008 is where cars got good. And then after that is where they got really good, where we got like multiple CAN buses and computers that really work. Now everything can self diagnose. The car can almost always find the problem. I love and you know what? Computers are just cars. Like it's all just easy because it all boils down to like 12-volt DC stuff. In car, pretty much computers also boil down to like 12-volt, 5-volt, and 3.3-volt DC. So and everything in your car does too. Like if you really like look into it, what your crank sensor is probably a 5-volt crank sensor, and it's all the same. So that's how a tech guy got into cars, and I love them both. And I grew up on cars, and then got into computers, and then it just kind of came full circle. So the more computers, the better. I just got a new client with an old VNX SAN, making a Unisphere. Made my life suck. Old Java man needs to go. Yeah. Well, I mean, VNX is the first problem. Nobody likes those guys. The old EMC. Anyway, yeah. Still have an EMC VNX if you need an engine stand. There you go. Yep, that's where it belongs. I do not do body work on cars. It's one thing I never want to do. I honestly, it'd be cool to paint if I had like my own paint booth, which it's the only way to do it because you have to paint correctly or it's all trash. So let me show that one there. There really shouldn't be any reason why this is lagging. I'm sorry if it is. PLCs, love PLCs too. Obviously worked in automation for quite a while and built all the HMIs for dad's company that pretty much works on PLCs. Have you ever met Goon Squad? No. Do you use HP tuners? All the time. I've got a MPIV 2 Pro, and we've used HP tuners on so many cars on the channel. If all of the Corvettes have been tuned on HP tuners, the Volt, we pulled the speed limiter off that thing. So, HP tuners all the time. Yeah, VNX is tough. Sorry, guys. I feel bad for you. I see all the EMC guys here. Ever thought of an old school car EV swap instead of the LS swap? I'd love to EV swap anything, but honestly, it's also too expensive. You pretty much are in, I'd say $15,000 to do a good EV swap on something if you use a good motor like a Warp 9. Of course, you could try to use like a Leaf, which will get you a full EV swap for $3,000, but you don't want a Leaf. That's really the problem. Is the Leaf is like a mediocre powertrain with a mediocre battery that's not going to get you any range. So that's why EV swaps to me are expensive, and I usually decide that I kind of want to do one, and then I just kind of stop. So it's just too much money. They're still fast. They're still fast. How's the F-250? Awesome. Sitting right out there, and it's probably about to head to Florida to pick up that new car. And what's that trophy behind you? It's the NetApp Car Show 2019 crowd favorite. It's got a NetApp logo in the middle of it for you. Have you ever thought about Megasquirt DIY auto tune? A lot of people have good luck with Megasquirt. I'd rather have a better package, which is why I use the Hollies. But a lot of DIY guys swear by their Megasquirts, and I'm not going to say anything bad about it because it does work. So if it works, it works. Like that's all there is to it. And it works on anything. You pretty much put in like your cylinder config. You can run 2 cylinders on Megasquirt. I think single cylinders. Like it's pretty good. You give it a timing signal, it'll run an ignition and it'll shoot some fuel in there for you. What's S tier storage in your opinion? Pure. Pure is great, crazy fast, right? Any of the full NVMe storage solutions are great, but NetApp has one, so I'd probably use that one. Obviously, Pure is fast, but everyone's kind of caught up. EMC's even caught up. So I just got a virus on XP downloading yesterday's WatchJRGo episode from BearShare. If my episodes are available on BearShare, I'm going to be impressed. So I don't think that happened. Yeah, we're talking pretty much all storage on here, Craft Computing. Welcome, Craft Computing. If you guys watch his channel, to the chat in here. But yeah, we're talking about NVMe storage, old VNXs, and yeah, Dell EMC has power store. There's lots of good new NVMe solutions. Brian, how about an AFM DoD delete project? Thinking about doing one on my 18 Tahoe. First, you should do it, but you guys don't need to see me do it because it's a cam swap and a valley cover swap. Like, it's just something you got to do. Pull the timing set off the front of the engine, get the heads off, or do that trick where you know, it's hard to get the cams out without it, but people have done it. So you could either pull the heads, pull the valley cover, and pull the timing set and throw in a cam and put it all back. But there's no reason for you guys to watch me do it. It sounds pretty boring. You can do the cheater AFM DoD delete, which is where you just go in HP tuners and turn it off, and it will make the engine last longer. More videos on your other channel. Which one? The tech channel or I got trying to fall off my stool here. The tech channel or the off-road channel or the urban exploring channel. I've got new videos for every single one of those channels sitting there, and they just haven't been put together yet. So there you go. Is BearShare still a thing? I don't think it is. I don't think BearShare is still a thing. And yes, the shop is gone. So I'm just going to be working in here for a while until we figure out a new place, or working on a few things in my dad's place. And that's just kind of back to what we were doing before the big shop. Favorite fast food? I don't know. Taco Bell is usually what we say here, but I think I ate too much Taco Bell and we had to pivot. I don't know what we've replaced it with. LimeWire is where it all began. No, like Kazaa and LimeWire Pro or whatever that was. Kazaa Lite. I mean, we had it all. We had it all back in the day. Napster, the OG Napster. Recent network admin grad here. Any tips on where to go after working on help desk if you have any experience to share? So I kind of went from help desk to enterprise IT directly, and in the middle of it, I worked for an MSP for 10 days, which was a nightmare. I don't know how we're buffering. Hold on, I'm gonna try something here. I'm sorry that it seems like we're buffering when we should have connected to a different access point, and I have a feeling it just isn't fast roaming to the AP that I want. So I'm just going to kill one of the APs on the network here. Or not. People are saying that it's buffering. I'm going to try to fix that for you. Devices, main floor, disable. Okay, hopefully it's fixed. It's either fixed or it's all ruined. Is it fixed? Please tell me it's fixed, guys. The other access point should be completely off, and we should be definitely connected to the one here. All right, it looks like everything's working. Do you promote brand? I don't know. Usually I just use brands that I like Milwaukee and stuff like that. I don't know what you mean by do you promote brands. I was a lighting designer, not on Grand MA. Obviously, I'd love to know Grand MA, but there's no reason for me to do it since I don't really do any, pro lighting, touring lighting anymore. So what I know is all of the old NSI dimmers really well, and Light Jockey really well, and a bunch of software like solutions like that. Unfortunately, I just don't know Grand MA, which is obviously all that matters now. No one uses anything but Grand MA. When I bought the shop, I really wanted a Martin Maxis because that's my favorite console of all time. But now they're pretty much dead. So there you go. Any upgrades on the home shop? We'll just clean it up. But this shop's perfect. If you guys have seen this shop, it's got that old 50-inch TV that I bought when I was 18 sitting there. Still works. Panasonic Plasma, TCP 50X1. And a Sony 5.1 receiver, all the wirings in the walls, EV EVID speakers, a 10-inch subwoofer. This shop is perfect for what it is. Like it's very functional, and it just needs more room. That's the main thing, is it doesn't have room. So I can't I want to get the Escalade in here right now and do the engine swap, but the Escalade would have to fit sideways, and then I still don't have much room to work around it because the Escalade won't clear the garage door. So that's kind of why I'm a little stuck in this shop, and I'm trying to get a bunch of stuff done. But yeah, I see you guys in there. Grand MA and ETC are the standards, but I'm too old. I came up in the days before Grand MA was around, before the Grand MA won. So, have you ever met Laser George Dodworth? Many times. We're always George and Christine are always at TX2K. I'm at TX2K every year. So, yep, I know those boys. All the fast GTRs. The 9 TVs did go with the shop, and then of course, Fix It Philip. Huge thanks for your super chat. I work on cars for a living. You're one of the people that inspired me to make my own channel. Thank you for what you do. You're doing a good job. God bless you, brother. Sorry, I can't read suddenly. Thanks for the super chat, man. Glad you're knocking out some cars and building your own channel. That's awesome. And yes, those old Panasonics never die. I've done a bunch of VinWiki interviews. I saw a question about that. Head over there, type in WatchJRGo. You'll find them. And a hangar would be cool, but the hangars, I'm also really worried about the nonstop airplane noise at airplane hangars like Hoovies. So he's not shooting there very often. You know, he shoots there for what, 10 minutes once every week, 2 weeks. So you guys don't have to like listen to any airplanes coming in and out. And that airport, we eat there all the time. It's all piston planes. And if it's jets, it'd probably be even louder. But I really do worry about how loud it would be there with, just random planes landing. Is it as bad as trains? I don't think so, because I won't hear them coming from miles away. I'll only have to hear them for about 5 minutes. But that runway is back taxied. So you land, typically, there is a taxiway, but a lot of guys back taxi all the way back up. So you can literally just be listening to a plane run for 10 minutes while they slowly back taxi. Yeah. All right. So Sir Richard, thanks for your super chat. Eric Siebert, what's your future plans for a shop house now? I'm still looking. Where are you storing all your stuff from the shop? The shop is kind of, thanks for your super chat, Eric. The shop's been split into a bunch of different places. A lot of it's here, and a lot of it is in a storage unit, like the lifts and the lifts and the pallets. Like I still have a bunch of engines and stuff like that that are on pallets. So we forked all that to storage, and all the cars went to my sister's shop. So everything's kind of spread back out. And we are going to end up kind of putting it all back together once I have a new place. So yes, I'm still looking. Yes, there's a new place that I badly want, but I'm still stuck in the contract from the old house at the moment. We're still trying to back out of it. And we're kind of getting daily updates. The seller really wants me to buy that house now. So they came back yesterday. They were like, is there anything we can do to save the deal? Like, no matter how much time he wants, just let us know. We're happy to work with him. That's what they're telling my agent, to get this deal done. And then today they were like, well, can we work out a deal where he gets all the land at once? And I was like, look, we're done. Like I already said we were done. Get me out of the deal. And that's kind of where we're at. We're just kind of stuck. So I'm trying to make this stuff get done in, a timely manner, but I should have had with the earnest money back yesterday. And here we are. It'll be Wednesday, and I probably still won't have the check back until Thursday. And once that contract's nullified, we can make a new offer on a new house. So either this one will work out or it'll be gone by the time I'm allowed to make an offer. That's kind of where we're at. So that's the update on the house. Telling you guys everything here. Fomoko's Power Garage. Well, thanks for the super chat there. Sorry we could not get together on the ice cream truck. Love your videos. Super jealous of the C600. Still regret not buying one for my business a couple of years ago. Yeah, thanks for the super chat, man. And the ice cream truck would have been awesome. It's tough for me to get to Chicago and pick stuff up. JR hates planes and trains and the automobiles. I'm into everything. It's just tough when they're right beside you. That's the real issue there. Craft Computing. I almost bought a house on an airport with a hangar on the back of the property. We backed out after walking through the house, and the neighbor was idling his plane for 40 minutes. And that's for sure. Like all those guys that live in hangar homes typically at least have like a 172 or a 182, and it'll be out there idling. Full warm-ups, stuff like that. So I might be in the middle of making a video and then just have to stop until they finished. Tripping with Dumas. Huge thanks for your super chat. Thanks for watching the channel. But yeah, now you guys know I do have one property on my radar. I'm trying to buy it if I'm allowed to. Ever plan on visiting Guam? Yep. I'm pretty sure I'll end up heading there. What are your thoughts on Goon Squad or Sam Crack? They're both YouTube channels, and I both watch. I watch both sometimes. NorCal Miata. My previous question: Lancia or some type of build? Well, we don't really have Lancias here in the U.S. So, I mean, obviously, tons have been imported and they do exist, but I really don't think I want to build something I can't get parts for. So, trying to catch back up here. LS swapped. Can I send you some of my merch to promote on the channel? Email me. That's kind of a business question. It's not really a chat question. We can talk about it. I'm currently looking for a Cessna 205 or a 210. I love the 210 a lot. Those Cessnas rock. Robert Bennett, huge thanks for the super chat. What's the steering wheel trophy behind you? We already talked about this, but I'll go get it since people are asking about it. Look at that. I didn't even remember. I was like, I didn't even realize it has a Ford GT on it. It's the NetApp crowd favorite trophy. I guess the video's flipped. At least it's flipped on my end. So. And those of you that have been around for a long time, I've seen some questions about the EXP here in the last couple of minutes. The old Ford EXP, that's what won that trophy. So there you go. Need to get property like 100 acres so you don't have to worry about any noise around you. That was really the plan. That's why I wanted the house in the country. And there was also the issue where I couldn't get any internet other than like it's a wireless ISP that's pretty slow. I want to buy a Chevy Volt first gen. Any advice? Get a what's the new one's called the Premier, right? I think the Premier is what I have now, and the old one might have been called the Premier. I don't know, but just get the nice one, and you'll love it. It's great. Where's your pilot's license? I have a few hours. I don't have my license. So why have you never had a Mustang of your own on the channel? I'm just not that into Mustangs. I like working on them when they're friends like Josh's, but I'm just not that into Mustangs. I'm sorry. I missed the announcement on the cars you bought. Well, we're not really talking about the cars I bought. Hyundai or Kia, it's the same company. There's no difference. Starlink's better than DSL. Starlink's really bad lately. If you like watch some real world results from people with Starlink, some of them are getting like 5 megs a second. So Starlink can be absolutely horrific. Email is the business email is in the channel about page, since a couple of people have asked there. Why don't you outsource your editing? Because I like to do it. I just like the style I edit in, and it's tough for someone else to jump in and edit if they don't know anything about cars, because it's just like a foreign language, and how would they know what to edit and what to leave? Absolutely. The more people on Starlink, the worse it gets, and it's getting very, very bad. Four Loko or Red Bull, neither. I don't like either of those. I will drink OG Red Bull sometimes, but I just don't like Four Loko at all. And Red Bull doesn't taste that good. So, yeah. Yeah, Starlink's a great backup. And if you're really stuck out in the middle of nowhere, Starlink is amazing. Where's all the Ubiquity stock at? I don't know. Everybody's buying it up. They're buying it so fast. And that was my other option, was T-Mobile Home Internet. A ton of people are about that right now. Project with Vice Grip. I'm always down to work with Vice Grip. Always down. Sean, huge thanks for your super chat. Whatever happened to the corn-fed guy that you told the cops you were armed outside your shop? So the funny story is we found his truck for sale the next day, and somebody emailed me and was like, I know that guy. You don't want to mess with him. He has all kinds of run-ins with the cops in my town. If you guys remember that video, it was the one where I was in the GTR and the guy chased me and then called the police. He chased me all the way back to my shop and then tried to block me in, and then called the cops on me and told them that I said I was going to shoot him, which is crazy because I didn't say a thing. I just went in my shop and watched him on the cameras. And then they showed up and we sat there and we figured it out real quick. The cops were like, that definitely didn't happen. And then another guy emailed me about that guy and sent me his truck that was for sale and was like, that guy is crazy. And it's great that it worked out the way it did, because like something bad could have actually happened. So that's what happened with the corn-fed guy. Yeah, I wasn't going to mess with that dude. I was like, made it back to my shop. Bye. Trespass him. Gold or silver for the stack? I think gold is the move right now. they're saying that gold looks bad, right? Like gold's 2021, 2022 performance looks bad, but inflation is what's putting like a damper on the gold value. So once the inflation starts to slow down, like the gold value should pop back up really fast and be much higher. I don't know. Craft computing, is it horrible? I want a 2J swap your RX8. I posted that LS swap to RX8 earlier. That's the move. I don't know if silver is more practical. I don't know what the practicality is with either. I don't know how you're supposed to sell them. But it does exist, and it should be something of value. I don't know. Like, you have to have a gold or silver exchange, and if something like happens where we start relying on that, like none of it matters. It's all just kind of being scared of the future, and I don't know. Just none of it matters. KW, huge thanks for your super chat. Ever consider moving out of Kansas? Sure. I would love to live in Montana where I could buy. I now say that's the move all the time. That's awesome. I'd love to live in Montana so I could buy cars and not have to pay taxes on them. This channel would be insane if I could buy cars, every car we wanted. Insane. So I don't want to live in Montana because I don't think I'm built for that level of cold. But I love the idea of being there where everything would be dirt cheap because the taxes are so cheap. Ali Hassan, huge thanks for your super chat. Have you ever had Middle Eastern food? If so, how was it? Love the videos. Thanks for the super chat again. And I have had Middle Eastern food, and it's it's not always my thing, but sometimes I'm into it. Eat a lot of Mexican food, Asian food, stuff like that. Set up a shell company in Montana to register them is just a bad suggestion because they'll probably come after you, and they will come after you when you're doing it on YouTube. So that's why I should either get some land in Montana or move there, and then no one can come after me. Then you're just good to go. $500 for 2 working jet skis was a steal. And I'm sure you guys can imagine that I sold them and we're paid for a new car. So a new car will be here tomorrow. One of the new cars will be here tomorrow. No answer for a guy that could take you. Okay, Juan, I'm not sure what you're asking, but a reliable car in today's market is probably all the stuff Toyota sells, all the stuff Honda sells. If you can get anything even remotely newer than like 2008, it'll still be like reasonable mileage and run forever. Yeah, there you go. Somebody asked about the bicycles. I'm not going to explain. I don't want to just spill the beans on what all the new cars are. I was just telling you guys, we just bought a ton of new cars, and they'll all be coming in as I go get them. So I am kind of what one should be here tomorrow, like I just said. It's the same brand as one of the cars I just sold. We'll give you guys one more hint there. And then another one, obviously, is the B car, and that one's coming from Florida. I have to go get it. And we're not going to tell too many secrets today. I told some of them. Is the R8 the worst experience, most headaches you've ever had on a project? The R8 just drug on. I wouldn't say it was the worst experience. It was hard to get done because it took a lot of coordination with like Hefner. He didn't have to be there, but I wanted him to check over the car. So that took a lot because we had to get the car to Florida. I had to fly in the tuner from New Jersey. There was a lot that went into the R8. So there you go. That's the answer to what was up with the R8. It took a long time. That Florida car is not a hurricane car. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. It did not get wet. It's actually way up north. It's very north. It's in Jacksonville. So there you go. I bet your neighbors love having you back working on cars at your house. Yeah, I'm not working on too many cars. There's not too many cars here, so it's probably fine. Is the 07 Acura Tsx a decent car for 3K? That sounds like an amazing deal. TSXs are great cars, and 3K sounds awesome. So, any more Scion XBs? Nope, not right now. And what was that? There was one other comment I was gonna get to, and oh, are you seeing used car prices coming down yet? I've got great info for you guys today. As of today, the average new car loan in America is now $738 a month. What do you guys think about that? The average used car payment, I think, was like $548, something like that. But yeah, $738 a month is the average new car payment in America now. How's your crash scooter? All the scooters are great. I put a couple scratches on it. I could drag it over here. It's right beside me. It kind of scratched up the aluminum a little bit, but that's it. Yeah, a $738 car back in the day. That was it. It's hard to find those. Average selling price, I think average selling price on used was 40, and average selling price on new is like somewhere 48, 50, somewhere in that market. It's crazy. How's the Goldwing? Amazing. Amazing. Camaro over Mustang any day. I agree, except for the S550. The S550 is like the greatest Mustang ever. So yeah, 738 is like what rents are in the Midwest. But if you guys really think about that, like, rent on one of the coasts is triple that. So it's not crazy to them, but in the Midwest and a lot of other states, it does seem crazy. So it's all relative, right? But it's still insane, especially when like everyone's like a lot of people are making $1,000 a month car payments, which is actually crazy. Crazy. Um, Do you have to deal with a lot of rusty vehicles down in Kansas? The only rusty vehicles we have are the Chevys that had mud build up in the fenders and then they rust from the inside. That's honestly kind of the main rust concern here. A lot of trucks. Um, Craft Computing can confirm my new car payment 615. Yep. I will say the truck is up there. The truck is like 800, but the truck is $100,000 truck. So I got a crazy deal on it and paid what 55 or something. So the truck's worth it though. It does work. Um, okay. How's your Honda scooter? Which one? I've got a bunch of them, and they're all great. So yeah, we don't have to deal with too much rust. That's kind of where I was going with that. Trucks are the rust problems here in Kansas for the most part. Everything else that has rust came somewhere else. Came from like the East Coast. And no, there is no. Somebody just said, "Have you found another shop yet?" And is there any HOH, which I think they mean HOA in your neighborhood? And there's no HOA in my neighborhood. I bought this house purposely because it has no HOA. So where are the F and G bodies? The F bodies, I've got what the first gen F body, obviously, at my sister's place right now. My '67 Camaro, and I've never owned a G body, not a single one. I've owned about everything else there is, but never a G body. And I get that people love them, just never owned one. Um, Thanks for all the content, JR. It'd be cool to see a bit of a sit down with Gabe and the rest of the on cam guests to hear their stories. You know what? We've done one with Gabe. It's on another channel though. So it's actually on like a podcast that was for a place here in town. So that does exist. If you look up like WatchJRGo and Shift, you should be able to find that. Hayden Brighton, hello, John Ross. Are you going to be able to talk about the new landlord at the warehouse that you had last and become a tenant? Well, I definitely don't want to be back there. I'm very happy to be shopless at the moment. So I don't need to become a tenant or anything like that. And he is using it as his like storage for his personal stuff. And also they're building like a small machine shop in there. And of course the detailers are still in there. And of course it has the train problem. So I do not want to be back at the shop. Nonstop trains was tough. Frankenstein Fabrications. I'm in Montana. Taxes aren't low. Land is super high, and most of the farmers scrap their cars on the back 40. That's definitely true. I could see that like the car market there would be tough. It was just the idea of being able to buy cars without paying insane taxes on them, even if they had to be shipped in. So, and of course, you guys don't have vehicle taxes. So that is the cool part. I'm an electrician. Do you have electrical experience? Yes, I do have some My dad's a licensed master electrician, and of course, we grew up working on the same stuff he worked on. Still waiting for a 92 Volvo 240. I think we found a P2 Volvo wagon or something, P1 Volvo wagon the other day when I was buying the cab over. And unfortunately, it was in the neighbor's yard and not in the guy's yard I was buying the car from. G body on a Panther platform is next. Bobtail Trucker, huge thanks for your super chat. What is a better vehicle? A Dodge ProMaster Sprinter, E150, 350 Transit, Express, Savannah. Honestly, I think the Transit is the best van there is. The cool part about an Express Savannah is that you can get an LS, especially like you could get a 4.8. My brother has a 4.8 Savannah that is his service truck, and it's awesome. But the Transit is kind of perfect. So I'd probably buy a Transit if I was shopping for business vehicles. The ProMaster Sprinter is obviously a little bit weird for everybody because of its, Daimler Mercedes ness, which can end up with very high repair bills, and the Fords and the Chevys will obviously be cheap to maintain. So that's my take on those. All right. What's your opinion on the Saturn Ion? It's very easy to work on. It's very easy to work on. What car haven't you driven but you really want to? Bugatti Veyron, Chiron, F1, XJ220. I know the XJ220 is trash, but everyone that's ever worked on one and driven one has said it's junk. But of course, it's the dream car from my day. So I'd love to drive the old XJ220. And I don't know what else. There's not too many cars that I need to drive. So, and Hoovy pretty much had every Lamborghini that I hadn't driven. So I got to drive them all in one day for the most part. That was pretty cool, filling them all in really fast. So I want a C8. Am I having a midlife crisis? No. It is the best value on the market today by miles. The C8 is perfect in every way. It's 911 Turbo S like levels of perfection, and they're cheap compared to all the other cars. You figure half price compared to everything it compares to. And it's just a great car. So if you want to buy a C8, I highly recommend buying it. Should be very reliable, and it should hold on to its resale right now, because they are dropping like rocks. So if you're buying one right now, they shouldn't drop much farther for a few years. Luckily, all that depreciation, all the like $30,000 markups and stuff, all vanished over the last couple months. And those people, they got their lunch ate. So C8 versus Carrera GT. Okay, well, I don't think that's a comparison. That's a tough comparison there, Atomic Force Gaming. Yeah, I am a vet guy, and the C8 checks all my boxes too, Craft Computing. I drove it, and I was mind blown. Good at everything. I commented on like 35 videos in a row about him buying a Volvo 240. One day. Maybe I'll find one. I was told there was a lot of old stuff still in the Midwest, Iowa, Kansas, northern Texas. Here's the thing. There's like a lot of old cars sitting around in Kansas. That's for sure. I don't think there's any doubt about that, but they're beat. Like they've sat outside long enough to rust holes through the floorboards, have trees grow through them. They're just rusted out piles that need to be crushed. Like there's not a lot left to save of those cars. Every once in a while you find the barn finds, and those are great cars, obviously. But for the most part, you're looking at the same like rusted out junk that sat outside for 40 years. And that's kind of the end of the life for those cars. Mike, thanks for your super chat. When are you going to buy a Lexus ISF? I did try to buy an ISF. I've told this story before, but I went to a dealership, had a good deal on an ISF. It was like a 2013, and I think they wanted 24,000, and I offered them 22. And I was like, let's go drive it. And we took it out for a test drive. And I'm out ripping it around for a little bit with the dealer guy came with me and one of my friends. He's sitting in the back seat, and we drive that thing for 15 minutes, right? Nice, clean looking Lexus ISF, reputable dealer. And we're driving along, and I'm like, something smells weird. And he's like, nah, the cars just smell like that sometimes. I was like, no, it smells like something died under the hood. And he's like, that can't be true. We just serviced the car. Everything's good to go. You're wrong. So we go back to the dealership, and I was like, well, I don't want it because clearly I don't believe what you're saying, and you don't believe what I'm saying. So he calls me back like a day later and was like, we found a squirrel under the hood. I was like, I told you it smelled like something was burning. So that's why I don't own an ISF, because the one that I found that was a perfect deal didn't quite work out. Steve, good night. Good to see you on here. Jeffrey, huge thanks for your super chat. What's your favorite vet? The C8 right now. I'd like to own every generation. That was one of the plans for the old building, was to have every generation in there and do the triple stacker lifts, 3 high, and put all the vets in there, because I love all of them, honestly. I've driven pretty much everything but a C1, and I love them all a lot. So the problem is, once you get a C8, like, why do you need a C7? And once you have a C7, like, why do you really need a C6, even though it's good? And I understand why you want a C5, because it looks amazing. But do you need that? So like the answer is just buy a C8 and be done with it. It all just boils down to like the C8 is good, and there's no reason to own the rest of them. They're all good, but they just get better and better. GM knows what they're doing. Was looking for Boxsters, ended up with an AP1 S2000 and an EB Flex with the fridge. Good garage. That's a good 2-car garage, I think. Huge thanks for your super chat, Sakanda, I think. I don't know how to say your name there. But yeah, the Boxster, I love my Boxster to death. Honestly, that car is super fun to drive. And we've got more mods coming for it as long as everything shows up tomorrow. I've been waiting on parts for 2 days for that thing. 3 days for that thing, something like that. And of course, you know, if you like the S2000, you like the S2000. I personally hate the S2000 because it feels gutless until you're like turning 6,000 RPM. So the S2000 is not a car I'm into. I'd take a Miata over it. But I think an S2000 and the Flex together look really cool. So I can see it. You never answered my Saturn Aura question. The Saturn Aura is another car. Isn't it a rebadged car from another brand, if I remember right? But the Aura is fine. I drove an Aura like XE a long time ago one day, and it was fine. It was a good car. Had the V6 in it or something like that. It might have been a second-gen View, but that thing was fun. Obviously, 3K GT TTs are cool, but I don't want to deal with that. It's an old nightmare of a maintenance. Like it's a rolling maintenance problem. So pineapple on pizza, love it. Love pineapple on pizza. 99 Boxster 5-speed with 100,000 miles for 6,500 does sound like a good deal. Jay Galloway, I think that is a good deal. It depends on how beat it is, if there's any paint left on it. I mean, I've seen Boxsters pop up here for $1,000, and I've turned them down because they were so rough. So when are we going to sniper EFI the scooter? Ooh, probably never. Probably never. Did the Rx8 get sold? Yeah, I sold my Rx8 the same day we got the Boxster. I needed to make room here at the shop, and I'm obviously trying not to get too many cars built up here at the house. So the Escalade needs fixed and sold. That's on the short list. And obviously the Boxster's staying until after Porsche Palooza. That'll get fixed. And the new cars that I just bought will be showing up here. I'm pretty excited about those ones. I'm honestly very excited about those ones. And the Boxster might stay for a few extra days because it's fun. Some C8s have AC compressor issues. I believe it. Do you think the motor in your Boxster was repaired? I don't think it's ever been touched. It looks like it's perfect. Is the IMS bearing concern overdone? I don't think it's overdone. It's definitely something that you gotta worry about if you have an IMX car. All the way up until what 987.2 is when it finally went away. And I'm still worried about mine, even though it does have the bigger reinforced IMS bearing. There's still kits to fix that stuff. And yes, I buy almost every one of my cars from Marketplace or from somebody emailing me about a car or something like that. I don't really buy from Copart because the last car we bought from Copart ended up with $1,000 in fees added onto it, and that was a cheap car. So does 100% Jake film your videos? He's just here sometimes. He doesn't shoot my videos or anything like that, but we hang out. And when we hang out, like if I'm at his place, I hold the camera. If he's at my place, he holds the camera sometimes. So that's kind of how that works out. What's the most quirky car you ever owned? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, but you guys gotta give it to that stupid blue egg car. I forgot what it was called. Like C650 or something like that. I don't know. I owned that egg. So that was a pretty crazy car with a motorcycle engine in it. The most unsafe thing I'd ever driven in my life. It could barely go 50 miles an hour, full throttle. And I was definitely always thinking it was going to roll over. So that was probably the quirkiest. V-Rod update. The V-Rod is at my dad's shop, and I need to get over there and get the axle out of it. And we should be good. Earth, flat, or globe? I love the questions you're asking there, Ninja. Let's just go with flat just to create some convo here. We're going to call it flat. I think we all know better. Will you ever build a Miata or keep the Boxster? I've built a Miata and I loved it. There were plenty of videos on that on here, but I don't think I'm going to like sell the Boxster and build a Miata. You live in Kansas. Of course you think it's flat. Kansas is flat. It's flat. Gabe's Opel GT is still up on the rotisserie. So that's the update on that. Do you miss any of the cars builds that you've sold? The F-Type, I really hated to sell the F-Type, but I wanted to get out of, the amount of money that it was worth. So that's the only reason I sold it, is because I just wanted to get all those cars gone. I didn't have any place to put them. I didn't want the F-Type sitting outside. It was super nice. So that's probably the one that I miss from the recent car stash. Uh, my first Titan, we talked about that on the channel before. That was a great, great truck. I missed that one. Obviously, I sold it for too little, and I'll never see it again. It was like a SEMA build, and it was perfect. It had every single thing you could ever have on a Nissan Titan in it, and it was on TE37s. I mean, it had wheels that were worth more than most of the cars I buy. So, what's the car you regretted buying the most? I actually have an answer for that, and I can't think of it. There was some car that I worked on, and I just hated it. But I don't know. I don't typically hate cars, so I actually have an answer for you, and I can't think of it. LS swap a Subaru Baja. I don't think so. Bruce Cook, huge thanks for your super chat. Did you finally buy a Plymouth? I did not buy a Plymouth. They're newer cars that you guys will probably love. Just buy 3 Porsches and build 1 screaming Porsche. Gabe Sky. Gabe Sky is wrecked. Don't know how to break it to you guys other than it got wrecked. It's not a bad wreck, but unfortunately, it's slightly hurt, and they're not driving it again while he works on getting a new bumper and a few of the lights and stuff like that. No, the Honda Navi's right here. You can see my what's this, 140, 150 swapped. This is the big Piranha engine in my 2022 CRF 250, which is crazy. This thing, it's brand new, and I have the brand new Honda engine for it, and it's been pulled out and replaced with a Piranha 140. It's a 140, and it will go like 70. So that's insane. And then, of course, I have the Navi right there, the Grom right there. All the bicycles are in there too. So there's a bunch of junk in here. The Goldwing's here. The Honda Helix is there. Goldwing behind it. There's a ton of stuff in here, but I need a place to put it all. That's the problem here. What's up with Josh's Bronco too? They put in new like quarters, fenders. They cut in everything, and I think it's still waiting for paint. So it's just sitting at a paint shop where it's been for a long time. It's really hard to get any paint or body work done here in Kansas, as far as I'm concerned. You either have to pay a ton and deal with okay work, or pay insane money and wait years. So that's kind of the deal with body work here. Is a Fiat 124 Spider ever on your radar? Huge thanks for your super chat, Alvin Brinson. It's just a Miata, and I might buy the Miata if I was going to buy a 124 Spider. So I don't know. I love all the AMC comments in here. I've never owned a single AMC, but there's a lot of Javelin and Gremlin and stuff like that going on in here. And I don't even know what you guys are talking about. We've got this full AMC chat. Bruce Cook, how many cars do you own now? I don't know. I think 10, maybe 12. I tried to count the other day. I guess technically with the new cars, like 13 or maybe more. It's tough. I have to stop and count all the cars and where they're at. Jeffrey Chapman, huge thanks for your super chat. What classic muscle car would you buy and rebuild on the channel? 69 Charger, always a cool car. Love the way those things look. I do plan on finishing the 67 body swap one of these days, but I just haven't had time to go to California. I don't have time to get a trailer and just drive all over the country. That's the problem. Like, we need to be working on cars every day, so I don't have a way to just hop in the truck and spend like 12 days on the road picking stuff up. So I plan on doing that. One of these days I will. Can you see the used car market return to normal price-wise? It's crazy how fast the car market's dropping. Like, it was something like 5% a week, and now it's pretty much every new car is hitting MSRP unless it's a luxury car. So all of that, like, all the price hikes are gone already. Used cars are dropping like a rock. People can't sell anything. I'm in like all the car sales groups on Facebook and stuff like that. I watch all this stuff just to kind of have an idea of when I should start buying cars again. And the used car market is collapsing, which is another reason I sold everything when I could. Like, when I got a chance to get rid of it all, it had to go. Oh yeah, CarMax is full again. It's awesome. I mean, I know their stock is tanking, but the lots are full because first, they overpaid for a lot of cars. It's going to take them a while to kind of normalize there. And All the other dealerships are the same way. Like all the ones that act like CarMax, Drive Time, Carvana, their shares have collapsed. They have tons of stock on the lots, and yeah, they're coming back quick. And yeah, I know dealership lots are still a little bit empty. I watch all the like actual dealership info. I'm in some groups that are just for dealers, and they talk about how much inventory is on the ground, and the inventory is coming back fast. It's honestly coming back quick. What are you doing with all the equipment from the old place? It's in storage until we can put it in the new place. What energy drinks are you drinking? Monster Ultra, typically. And sometimes I drink, if I'm trying to start the day off right, drink AG1, and then might still end up with a Monster later. Who knows? I make bad decisions. I know the Monster's bad for me. Carvana is getting a bad rap. We've all known Carvana has never been able to figure out registrations, a lot of logistics. Carvana has some issues. If you could buy a 1950s Super Cruiser, what would you buy? I don't have an answer for you. Thanks for your super chat. But I would assume it'd be some Lincoln Continental. That's kind of what I've always wanted. Love the Continental. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a little while before dealers are back to where they were. They're hurting right now. Rivian is not going bankrupt. That's nonsense. Post vegetable seed needs them. I'm reading the chat if you see me looking off to the side. Construction equipment is very expensive. I don't have an answer for you as to why. It's insane because when I was looking at the property, I needed a tractor with an air-conditioned cab just so I could mow. And then I was like, well, I need a Bobcat too. So I'm looking at tractors with brush hogs and a Bobcat so we could build like a little track. And it's just crazy what all that stuff costs. It's crazy. Yeah, dealers are sitting on inventory. The house that I would like to buy right now, I was like, it'll be sold the first day. Not even close. Like, it's been 6 days since I saw that house, and it's not even pending. So there's a good chance I might be able to buy that second house, the house that I'd like to buy right now. Yeah. And then we can get rid of this house and move everything over. It does seem like houses are stagnating hardcore at the moment too. Any of your current vehicles that you'll keep forever? Sure. The 67 Camaro will probably never be sold. I'm pretty set on not selling that one. If something crazy happened, it would go. But the 65 F100 will never get sold. And of course, the S10 will probably never get sold because it's awesome. I love the S10. So good. And what else is on the permanent list? Nothing else. Nothing else is permanent. Those 3 cars have to stay. Where do you plan on moving to? Right down the street. I probably won't move more than 20, 30 minutes from where I'm at right now. Mike, huge thanks for your super chat. Sold my 2010 Super Duty for the same reason. Stupid money for a 12-year-old truck. Sold it just before the bottom fell out of the used market. Yeah, good for you. That's awesome. If you got out of your cars at the right time, just like I did, it was perfect. Everyone's like, why are you selling your cars? Why are you selling your shop? Because I sold everything right when it needed to turn into cash while everything is just collapsing. And I think I did pretty well on my car deals. I was happy where I was at. And I wish I would have sold the F-250 because it was worth so much. It was, even at the very end, it was still worth $10,000 more than I paid. And now 2 months later, my truck's back to like what I paid for it. It's hard to complain about that, but it's not worth the, $70,000 I was planning on selling it for. Bruce, huge thanks for your super chat. Buying a Bobcat, wouldn't a Pinto be cheaper? 2 different things. That's right. I sold my firstborn son for cash before the bottom fell out of the market. How can we get the 2 Viper return? I will assume the Viper is never coming back at this point. I mean, it was gone and they brought it back for the 5th gen. And at this point, the Viper will never come back unless it's electric. It's pretty much guaranteed that no cars will come back unless they're electric at this point. So I love EVs. We're going to make more videos on them. They're great. I understand that they're not at a point where a lot of people can, where they're not affordable for like some of the masses at the moment. But at the same time, they do work great where we're at in today's market, especially if you have home charging, then it's like the greatest thing in the world. Never have to go to another gas station in your life. It's so cheap to drive. Yeah, Fiat 500e, awesome. I would love to have a Fiat 500. I've always wanted one. Um, they're just awesome. CNG and LNG cars are dead. The Blue XB. I just saw Shell is getting rid of all of their hydrogen filling stations. And of course, CNG and LNG have some marketplaces like Oklahoma where it's kind of popular, but it just keeps shrinking and shrinking. And EV charging is everywhere, and obviously a lot of it's free. So like fully free. I'm going to make a whole video on how you can pretty much just drive EVs for free and how misunderstood charging is. So love that. Back off the EV tangent here. Hydrogen power was awesome. It was a great idea, but hydrogen power is insanely complex and it can be very dangerous to work on. They can't train techs to work on it. If you got to consider you've got mechanics that are working on gas engines, and then going to like CNG or LNG is pretty simple. It's an injector change for the most part, and a tune really. Put a tank on it, change the injectors, tune. But those ones worked okay, but high pressure hydrogen is a whole nother thing. And it's really hard to get techs trained to work on that. And of course, they don't sell any of their cars, so it doesn't make any financial sense to train techs on that. So what it comes down to is just money at the end of the day. And EVs are what makes sense compared to trying to move to hydrogen infrastructure. There is electricity everywhere, and there's not hydrogen everywhere. So that's why hydrogen is pretty much dead now. And I do think CNG, LNG will follow quickly. Mike, what do you think of the Mustang Dark Horse? It's like an S550 with a new dash to me. I'm not really into the Mustang Dark Horse, and I really the remote rev. I wish it didn't have remote rev. I wish that Dodge EV thing didn't have any noises. It doesn't need it. Everybody hates the idea of noises. Like we were happy to go to electric cars because they're quiet. We don't want fake engine noises. Just either get rid of it and we can hate that the engines are gone, or don't get rid of the engines. I don't know. Like nobody wants a middle ground where EVs make car noises. So it's just ridiculous. Which is why I don't like the Mustang Dark Horse and its stupid remote rev features. Don't let anybody rev their engine from a remote. Nissan GTR 2015, great car, one of the best years. I'd say buy a 2015 GTR with no questions at all. Thoughts on the F-150 Lightning towing capacity discourse? I don't think it matters. People with Lightning should know not to tow anything other than jet skis. That's not a truck for towing at this point. It's just not there. Obviously, the technology's not there. It's coming. It will be here. They're going to get cheaper. And obviously, batteries last way longer than all the FUD that's out there right now. It's just insane. There's so much misinformation, and there's such a narrative against EVs for political reasons. It just doesn't matter. It's so dumb. EVs are great. They're better to work on. There's nothing to work on because they don't break. And, the batteries on average last 20 years. You're going to see a 20% capacity reduction over 10 years. Sure. Like the capacity will get worse, but at 20 years, you're going to throw the car away. So that's it. It's exactly how they're supposed to live out. They have a definite lifetime. It's 20 years. And then they'll get recycled and you build another one. 3800 Racer Regal. Huge thanks for your super chat. Had an 03 Chevy Cavalier LS. Had to sell it because it came from Minnesota. Everything rusted out. Yep, that's unfortunate. Those East Coast cars, they rust out. Yeah, EVs are the simplest thing in the world. It's literally a battery, a couple of wires, an inverter, and a motor. There's nothing better. The AC compressor is a motor with 3 wires going into it. And you can change the AC compressor RPM. Like, it's amazing. You can literally set a duty cycle and just slow the thing down so it's quieter. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable how good they are. What is the... I'll unhide this comment. YouTube auto hit it there. Small world, big bus. I don't have an answer for you. And obviously, for a lot of people, plug-in hybrids are what make the most sense. So I'm not here to take any stance on this. If you don't like EVs, don't buy an EV. Eventually, you'll buy an EV. Obviously, we can all see that the government's forcing us to buy them. But I personally love them. And if you don't want one, you got 20 years before you even have to think about it. That's all there is to it. Buy a hybrid. They're great. Super cheap to drive. And you get all the benefits. There are no emissions in Kansas, so it's awesome. Do you think the Chevy Bolt is worth the money for an entry-level EV? I think it's the best. Like literally, if you get the Bolt EUV with Super Cruise for 25 grand or whatever it is right now, it's a $25,000 brand new electric car. So anybody that is saying that electric cars aren't affordable hasn't looked at the Bolt. 300-mile range, dirt cheap for a new car. Like it's one of the cheapest new cars out there, and it can drive itself. Unbelievable. Did any non-local people show up at the subscriber meetup? Yeah, actually a bunch. We had a bunch of people come from Oklahoma. I don't know what the farthest is, but yeah, I think Randy and that K car from Oklahoma were some of the longest. Since you're a fellow O'Reilly's guy, have you used the reman engines? No, I bought a lot of transmissions from O'Reilly's, but I typically buy engines that aren't remans. I'd rather buy just the cheapest possible engine and swap it twice if it ever breaks again, because it probably won't. So that's why I just buy like a junkyard engine with some miles on it. I try to keep the miles the same as what came out of the car. Bruce, huge thanks for your super chat. 76 Eldorado or 58 Continental. Obviously the Continental. Again, I love all the Lincoln Continentals. They're just, even the ones that were like, they're not exactly my style are still great cars that I appreciate. I love art. So all the big finned and rocket tail lights, all that stuff's amazing. I love all those old cars. And if I ever do buy my Lincoln Continental, I'm going to put a diesel in it, probably a Duramax. So Lincoln Continental with the Duramax. So, we got to have the sacrilege. I got to make everybody mad. That's obviously the goal here. Put the Chevy engine in the Ford, and then I want to bag it, and I want to put it on 20s. And that's the perfect Continental for me. I want to drive that thing coast to coast and just have the perfect cruiser. And it has to be a convertible suicide door, Duramax swapped bagged Continental. And that's going to cost me more money than I ever want to spend on a car. So who knows when I'll ever build that thing. And no, that's not a donk. It's only 20s. A donk would be funny, but I like the Gem 1 Raptor, but I don't like it that much. Did Hoovie's Tesla have an extensive repair history? I don't know if it had any. I don't really know. I remember the video where he talked about it and the battery being bad, but I don't remember if it had any repair history or if Tesla would disclose that. Duramax Suburban, I don't have any reason to do that. And no, there's no 50% to 100% increase in your electricity bill. And the Hummer isn't like, the Hummer is not representative of any electric car market. The Hummer is representative of nothing. There's going to be like 200 Hummer EVs. They're never going to make them. Like, I know a couple of people have them, but they don't exist. It's not a real argument. It's just a publicity stunt. Like, why are we ever talking about the new Hummer? It's basically a non-existent car. Huge battery, tons of weight, cool, but no. It doesn't, and it does not take 4 days to charge. If you DC fast charge, it takes like 3 hours. And also, it doesn't cost 50 to 100%. My Volt costs me $30 a month if I charge it every single day from fully dead. That's how much it costs. I can spend $30 a month on gas if I want, and not a penny more. So that's like misinformation. That's all it is. I got us like that crazy comment. Electric bill went up by $20 a month. There you go. That's exactly what it costs to charge your electric car. Yeah, and if you can buy a Hummer EV, you should also be able to afford a $4,000 a month electric bill with your $4,000 a month car payment. Like, it's just crazy. Huh. His Model S had a long list of repairs. Crazy. It's fine. Let Tesla pay for it. It's pretty rare for them to ever have an issue. Will Rivian surpass Tesla? I don't know about that. It's just because Tesla has numbers. Like, Tesla has 10 years in the game at this point. They have 3 million cars on the road. There's 3 million of them. And people are out there, using like Hoovie's one example. It's one that had some problems, as representative as, the EV market. When it's just not. It's mathematically, it's nothing. And that's what it comes down to, is like, they don't typically have issues. And yeah, crazy. Another Model S had 2 battery failures in 3 years. I can see it, but of course Tesla replaced them for you, right? I would assume. Do you buy Tesla stock? No. I don't actually like Tesla or Elon for the most part. I'd buy one of the cars because they're okay cars, But yeah, I'm definitely not into the Elon thing or the fanboys. They're just okay cars. There's better EVs. Buy Chevy's EVs. They're dirt cheap. Cheap is the key. Um, if you get into an accident with an EV, your car is probably totaled if the battery pack gets damaged. 100%. 100%. If you get hit hard enough to somehow damage the battery, which is a massive hit, you know, it's probably totaled. Elon is funny. He's entertaining. I gotta say, you get to watch all this stupid Twitter posts and ouch. Yeah, I would not be replacing a Tesla battery out of warranty. I would try to repair it. In fact, I know where one is right now. I can buy a Model S. I can buy for like 17,000 or something like that. He just needs bought out of his loan, and it has the same battery failure that one of the ones Rich Rebuilds showed, where it just needs like a nipple screwed into the battery, and it should be good. So I can pretty much get it for nothing and sell it for the next day for 30 grand. It's a P90, so it's a good car. Magnetic ride controller, ABC suspension, mag ride all day. Mag ride's easier to work on, so much easier to work on. ABC is the end of the world. It costs so much more. What a mag ride shock on average is like $1,500. An ABC shock's $1,500 plus a pump that's $2,500, and it's hard to work on. There's no way I would ever compare the two. Like electronic shock control blows away hydraulic shock control. I'd never want to see ABC suspension in my life. Replace it with coilovers. There's plenty of how-tos on the internet on how to replace your Mercedes shocks with coilovers because they're so much better. Why do you have a Google Fiber Bunny rabbit behind you? Because I was there the day they opened the Google Fiber Center, and it's really one of the few things that I needed in life. And I finally got AT&T Fiber yesterday, so we've got 1 gig symmetrical internet now, which is mind-blowing. Did you fix the running boards on the Escalade? Not yet. It's coming. And what's your opinion on Subarus? I don't have any issue with them. They're great cars and a lot of fun, but at some point you end up with an oil pump failure or a head gasket going on a Subaru. So, you know. Well, magnetic ride control isn't technically hydraulic like ABC, though, because magnetic ride control uses an energized field in the shock to change the way the ferrofluid, right, the metal-filled fluid, changes state, so it flows faster or slower. So mag ride control is nothing like ABC because it's at a per shock basis, and ABC isn't per shock. ABC has like hydraulic lines that run to the shocks. That's the main differences between the systems. So if you have to work on that, you're going to have to break open a hydraulic system. Like it's just a bunch of work. I really don't ever want to have to deal with ABC. MagRide is simple and faster. It's so much faster because it's, anything you can localize and control in the shock absorber is better. So that's why MagRide is better no matter what it costs. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, one uses a pump to pressurize fluid, but the other actually changes the dynamics of the fluid. I don't know if you'd call it the dynamics, but it changes like the viscosity on the fly with the ferrofluid and the electrical current. So, I mean, MagRide is amazing. And not to mention, MagRide can update I think MagRide updates 30 times a second or something, 10 times a second, 10 hertz, 30 hertz, something like that. So, like GM's MagRide is until you have to buy it. If you have to buy it, you're in trouble. But yeah, ABC is even worse to buy. You could be $10,000 down on an ABC failure. What happened to the Cube? I sold it. It's in Colorado. There's some subscribers bought the Cube, and it's awesome. We all need the Bose suspension, but the Bose suspension will never exist. Unfortunately, the only Bose suspension we ever got to see is that one video from Lexus. Too bad. You let us all down, all of us car guys. Magnets? Nobody knows how magnets work. You need a Honda ATC. There's one down the street. I'm gonna buy it. Finally, an answer. I'm just ignoring. I'm not ignoring you, Cliff. I just don't have time to read all the comments at once. Mike, huge thanks for your super chat. EV battery shops are going to start popping up all over the place. Yes, they will, and it will be super cheap to replace them in the future. We'll get better diagnostics We'll be able to replace individual cells and stuff like that. It'll be easy. Don't worry about that. Magride shocks are 400 on Rock Auto. Those probably aren't magnetic. Those are probably what would it be? A servo varied shock absorber, and not actually. Most of the electronic shocks you see just have like an orifice. It's a variable orifice, and basically a motor changes the orifice to change how fast or how slow the fluid can move through the shock body. So that's what it does, is it like just changes that orifice and slows down the shock rate or speeds up the shock rate based on what the car wants. It's really slow. It's not very good, honestly. That's what the Corvette uses. The C5 Corvette, and in the C6 until like the ZR1, that's when like only the very good Cadillacs, and I can't even think of what they are, got Magride. And it's not, the STS wouldn't be it. The STS is a pretty mid. Huh. Yeah, it'd be crazy. I believe you, I guess. But yeah, the Magride shocks should cost a lot more. And the CTSV probably isn't Magride. For some reason, performance cars don't typically get it. Why do you stay up so late every night? I like staying up late. That's just what I do. That's just what I do. What's your opinion on Polaris Slingshots? I hate them and also kind of like them. I don't know how to say. If there was a video on the channel with the Polaris Slingshot, and it's not that bad to drive. Like, you want to hate it because typically they're just rentals and tourist traps, and they're just out being annoying. But when you drive it, you're like, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. So that's my answer for the Slingshot. While I should hate it, it's a GM engine with a manual transmission, and it's pretty good. It's only 11 here in Kansas. So I saw somebody say it's 5 in the morning. Not here. Rampage or Brat? Great question. That's a great question. I'd love to have the Brat because I want the rear-facing seats in the bed, and I guess I could just put rear-facing seats in the bed of a Rampage, and I'd be good. But you know what? The Brat's probably better. It's probably easier to work on. The Rampage is that junk old 80s Chrysler stuff, which is all like vacuum operated and has tons of issues. So I guess my answer would probably be Subaru Brat, even though I've never owned one. Can we get a four-wheeler video on your 400EX? I shot a whole video on the 400EX, and I think I have it for the off-road channel and never uploaded it. Huh. Maybe the STS has Magride then. There you go. And it's weird that the CTSV would. Car Crusher is coming. Car Crusher will be done in the next month or something like that when the rest of the parts come here from Italy. They're making all the parts in Italy for that. We did talk about the Lexus ISF already. If you go back, I almost bought one. Is the new Apple Watch worth it? It's a watch. I eventually, it's the same as the old watch. It's actually really annoying because it has the nice new band and it's cloth. And then, of course, I'm like washing parts in the solvent tank for the truck yesterday. And I don't want to take the watch off because you have to go wash your hands and take it off. So it's kind of annoying that I don't have the old one. The old one I beat on a lot harder. What do you make of the stop sale issued on the revised Milwaukee high torque impact? I think it's a non-issue, obviously, because Milwaukee said if you have the new high torque, and if any of you guys have this, if any of your high torque Milwaukee impacts say B on them, Milwaukee will send you an A for free immediately. So just do that and it's fixed. And Milwaukee already pulled all of the B impacts off the shelf and trashed them all. So I would say there is literally zero issue and no impact to anybody that has the new Milwaukee impact. Sorry that it might have broke in some situations, but it's definitely no big deal. No big deal. What do you think about another Imperial Ghost? Huge thanks for your super chat. Another S60R V70R. I was just data logging in mine for that flamethrower tune. You have a flamethrower tune? First of all, send that flamethrower tune to Elliot. We need him to have flames. And he's almost done with his V70R. I know that. So it would be really cool if he had a flame tune. Best Kansas City barbecue joint, whichever one has the red roof, which we've talked about on the channel many times before. I'm pretty sure the red roof is Gates, because I like that it just gets so spicy that you're almost crying by the end of it. Obviously like Q39 is great. Jack Stack's good. Oklahoma Joe's, or now Joe's, is good. But Gates, first it's got that old school vibe because they give you the old lunchroom trays. And then by the time you eat like, the fifth pound of meat, I don't know, way too much meat, you're like crying. But you're like, oh, it's so hot. Please stop burning. So yeah, I like Gates. And I like all the rest too. But yeah, Gates is the one for me. Best Wichita barbecue, big toss up. Obviously, I like Bite Me, and Pig and Pig Out is one of my good friends. He's got a very cool G8 race car that probably runs like eights at this point. Pontiac G8. It's one of the craziest builds you guys have ever seen. So he's definitely the coolest barbecue owner and really good food. And he wins a lot of awards here in Kansas. And then Pig and Pig Out, Bite Me Barbecue, and BNC. I probably eat all three of those equally. Those are the three here in Wichita that you want to go through. Bruce Cook, huge thanks for your super chat. 61 Imperial or 58 Buick. I'd probably buy the Buick in that one. That's probably the one I buy. What happened to the self-driving Volt? We just talked about it for a long time. I love it. It's awesome. I drive it all the time. I just took it to dinner. GM Mag Ride magnetically changes the shock fluid. Exactly. Right. Well, I explained the full differences. There's two versions of the GM Ride, right? The electronic shocks. And there is the shock orifice version, which is all the earlier Corvettes. And then Mag Ride that came in, I think, C6ZR1 and then the C7 and stuff like that. So that's what we were talking about. How do you keep finding these amazing Porsche deals? So Josh found me the 944. It was a guy he knew that knew a guy from the Air Force Base here. And of course, we just went to his backyard and there it was for $500. And then the Boxster, a friend of mine that owned the dealership, reached out, the guys from Enthusiast Auto Sales, and told me they had it and they wanted 10 grand for it. And I was like, I think it's too much. I don't want it. And then like a week later, they said 9 grand if you guys needed an idea of where the car market's at, because nobody should have ever discounted that car, even $1. And they came back and offered it to me for 9 grand. So I said, I'll buy it right now. I'm shocked that I'm learning about shocks. There's a lot of shocks. A lot of shocks out there. A lot of different technologies to control that suspension rate. It's important. Keeping the C600. The C600 will be, you guys hate the C600. It's very obvious from the analytics that people don't like it, the cab over at all. And I get that a few people want to see the project where I build a bed and use the thing, but I'd have to do a frame swap, which it's obviously not economically viable, and that's all that matters here. So we're going to have the C600 all together tomorrow because the parts just came in. And then as soon as that's done, I'll sell it and hopefully double my money. So yeah. But the analytics show that nobody watches it. And I lost so many subscribers on that project that I just need to get rid of it immediately. Yeah. It's not relatable. That's the problem. Is it seems like a cool idea. I thought it was beautiful. It's Art Deco. I love the truck, but if it doesn't make sense, then it has to go, and it doesn't make sense. Yep. Some people do like it when I work on the weird stuff like the old cars, and some of it does really well, but the truck did terrible. So sorry to say, that's all it comes down to. And if it was on a Duramax frame, ooh, that'd be sweet. But then I'd need a new cab, honestly. I need a new cab. It needs a lot of repair. Bill, huge thanks for your super chat. Any thoughts or plans on doing an EV conversion? Like we talked about that earlier. I always want to do an EV conversion there. MCM, not Art Deco. I don't know what MCM is. I'm not quite sure. Mid-century modern. Is that what you're going for? Sorry. So either way, it's a cool design language. And there was the other one I was talking about there. I'm sorry. I jumped around too much, reading too many comments at once. Yeah, the cab over was beautiful, but yeah, people hated it according to the analytics. Yeah, I can prove it to you. If I know people are like, you've got to be kidding, but I'm not kidding. The Boxster people are in love with. The Boxster is an epic project apparently, and I didn't think so. Sometimes I do build cars that I like just because, like the Atom was horrific. I can't believe people hated the Atom, even though it's probably the greatest car in the world, like untouchable. You know, in my dream, ever since I saw Jeremy Clarkson drive that thing, there's no car I ever wanted more. And the analytics are not wrong because my life depends on the analytics, and it's very obvious. Um, so that's a crazy comment. Uh, the Atom did pretty much the worst performance out of all my videos every single time I made a video on it, even though it was incredible. Fastest thing in the world, could hang with hypercars. It was just crazy. And every single video would immediately 10 out of 10, which is the worst thing that you could have happen. And it just blows my mind. There's nothing better, but no one can relate to the Atom because you can't buy an Atom unless you have to keep it inside. It's really hard to drive it anywhere because there's no key, so you can't let it out of your sight. That was always tough. The Atom's barely a car, but my gosh, was it fast. I loved it to death. You guys hated it, so it had to go. That's all it came down to. Greatest car in the world. If you hate it, you're wrong. Sorry to say, but 600 horsepower and 1,300 pounds is untouchable. Untouchable. But yeah, some of you guys liked it, and if you liked it, props. I loved it, but yeah, it had to go. It does come down to the analytics at the end of the day. If you guys watch all the cab over videos, see, Tavares only does exotics, but exotics are relatable because it's what do they call that? It's the same thing Stradman does. I can't think of the word for it. It's aspirational content is what Tavares and Stradman do. Since it's only supercars, like DDE is all aspirational content. There you go. You guys, so Eric nailed it there. That stuff does great no matter what. No matter what, those guys do huge numbers all the time. But my cheap little Atom would beat all their cars. Oh, well, it had to go. Vet builds always do great. Every Corvette I've done has done amazing. So Corvettes are very relatable. Even if they're not aspirational, they're cheap. It's the best value for money there is in sports cars, which is why I've always loved Corvettes. So cheap. I thought to keep an Atom, you needed the Hadron Collider. Huge thanks for your super chat, Bruce. Yes, that is true. Or maybe that's to split an Atom. It's either to do it or to split it. It's one of the two. Yep, RX8's gone. Atom greater than PT Cruiser. Is that? I said I won't do another C5. I've done too many C5s. We've had a ton of C5s on the channel, and honestly, at this point, I've owned something like 8 of them, so I've got to stop. I have to stop on C8s. Great cars. You should buy one. I highly recommend it. The C5 is obviously the most reliable. The C4 was terrible. I had a Crossfire C4 though, so don't listen to me. But also the LT1's not a great engine. I would not buy an LT1 on purpose, the old LT1, the Iron Block 350. So, I wouldn't recommend a C4. I would recommend a C3 because you're back into the reliable old 350 and small V8 days. So C4, amazing. It definitely brought us towards the future. It definitely changed Corvettes. It is the modern Corvette, honestly. But the C3, even though it rides terribly, is great to work on. And the C5 is just everything all put together and cheap. So there you go. OptiSpark isn't even the main thing that ruined the LT1. Emissions and being hard to work on killed it for me because they buried a 350 so small in there that is, Do you put systems in your cars? Wait till you see the Porsche episode that's coming tomorrow. As soon as the parts come in. As long as the parts come in tomorrow. Thoughts on selling your GTR? If you're buying an R35, you'll love it. It's a great car, super reliable. And R32, 3, 4, I wouldn't recommend particularly. Saab New Gen 9.5, I'd love to do that. They're much harder to find, and people still want money for them. So when I find $1,000 to a $2,000 Saab 9.5, that's nice. I'll buy that. So that's the holdup. I want a cheap one. Hypermile C5, you can of course go watch Legit Street Cars for that. He's already done it. The C5 already gets great gas mileage. Hopefully you're going with a new Kenwood stereo. So you don't need an iData Link interface in the 997.1. because it's pretty dumb for a car. Like, it doesn't have any. First of all, let me block this Tinder weird message. There's your perma ban. It's not even a subscriber. That's spam. So yeah, the 99 or the 987.1 is dumb. It does have a data link to the radio, but it's not needed. So that one's just not. I don't need that. It's just going to get a standard old power and speaker wire. Easy peasy. M539 collaboration. I'd love to. I don't actually know the guy though, so maybe one of these days. Best car from 1985 with 4 seats, the Honda Accord LXI. I had one and I loved it. Loved it. Buy another Helix. I've got one. It's right beside me. It's right here. We've got the Helix. YouTube and spam. I tried to solve all this for you guys. I've probably deleted about 1 million of those Telegram, WhatsApp comments where they use, my avatar up here in the corner. And then, it says message me on Telegram. Well, you can ban emojis. Okay, that was not your mom. So I went through and I banned a ton of the emojis that the spammers use. So they typically use like the stock one, and they use all the finger point ones. So all of those are banned. That's kind of what all the other channels have had to do to try to manage the spam as well, since YouTube can't do it. So you just ban every emoji that you see the spammers use, and that should solve the problem for you guys, so you don't have to deal with that. Yeah, I tried to ban every single one of those, and I've tried to respond to all the emails about them, but there's only so much I can do. There must be on almost every video 3 new accounts that have my avatar. So thoughts on the Mercedes CLA 250, specifically the previous gen. I love that car. Love it. Smath, checking the graph. No, they weren't using that graph. They were using the bar graph. So if you try to comment the bar graph, it'll auto ban. A bunch of the emojis will auto ban. Sorry. So let's see. Spam ban. I tried to do it. Honestly, an Toto head unit is all you need. Guess what I have? You're never going to guess. I know it's sacrilege putting in a Toto in a Porsche, but we are getting it done. What cars did you buy? Well, one of them is the Big B company. We talked about that one. And the other one I'm really excited about will be here at 3 tomorrow. Yeah. You guys are going to love it. Love it. What do you think about the Predator 212 engines for go-karts? Well, go watch my video on the Predator 212 Ghost. And I think it's like the greatest thing ever. I loved it. So, yeah, a stock Predator 212 is good, and the Predator Ghost is really good. So, what do you recommend for bad breath? So, Listerine strips, obviously, but aren't they gone? Somebody answer me in the comments below. I am on all social platforms, obviously, just to take the username. Like, if they make a new user, a new platform, I try to go get the username immediately just to have it. But I pretty much only keep up with... I try to read the Instagram DMs. I try to read all of you guys' comments for the first 30, 40 minutes after a video comes out. And I try to jump in and do some live streams like this just to talk to everybody. No, I'm not using YouTube Spammer Purge. I didn't know that was a thing. I'll Google that and see what's up. So we'll see. I didn't know that was a thing. Buy the tour reg from Sam Crack. And there's one other thing I was going to answer for you guys. We were talking about Predators and the Totos. Yeah, Predators are rock. Oh, you have Listerine strips? They exist? Okay, cool. I have like one old package left that's 10 years old, but those were the coolest things. I loved them. And obviously, my favorite co-host, my dad's great whenever we work on stuff. Everybody loves that. When we get to, we'll probably do that carburetor on the cab over. That'll be the last video as we get that thing running. And my brother, always great. And then Josh is like the king of getting stuff done like that. Like Josh is like, he's crazy fast. Honestly, he's faster than me. Sometimes I want to slow down and I try to make everything like perfectly factory. He's like, what are you doing? We're getting it done. So that's why Josh is always great to have on here. He's a monster. Best 4-door sleeper from the 90s. E30? I don't know if that's quite a sleeper. Ryan Joe, any idea on getting a girlfriend? I don't know, man. You missed that Tinder spam just a minute ago. Just jump back. I know I banned the spam comment. What YouTubers do you watch that's not a friend? So I watch Mr. Beast. Obviously, that could be controversial, but it's fun to watch Mr. Beast. I'd say I know most of the car YouTube game, like legit street cars, DDE, Tavares, Rob Dom. Like I know all of those guys. If you're in the YouTube car game for the most part, we're probably friends. So I watch those guys, and obviously I watch Hoovy because he's a good friend and right down the street. Honestly, I don't know how you wouldn't think I watch him. I watch Demo Ranch every once in a while. Obviously, he does my shirts. If you guys buy these shirts, come from him. I watch Speed Academy every once in a great while, but I think you have to pay to watch Speed Academy, and I'm not going to do that. So, and I watch Goon Squad once in a great while. Obviously, they do great work, and I watch West work every once in a while too. A little Vice Grip. And Project, I don't know why. Obviously, everyone knows I watch Linus Tech Tips all the time. And I don't miss a single Whistling Diesel video because they're freaking hilarious. Like the guy is unbelievably funny. And then Rich Rebuilds, I don't miss any of his videos because he's crazy funny. Always has a laugh for you. And Project Farm, I don't know why in the last few weeks, I watch a lot of his videos randomly, but then I watch like 50 of them in a row. So now all my recommendations are Project Farm again. Would you ever own slow-mo guys? Every once in a while. You know what my girlfriend said? If I wore a white lab coat for Halloween this year, just today, I would look like one of the slow-mo guys. I don't know which one because I don't know their names. But yeah, lots. Heavy D, every video now. Obviously, his videos are killing it. It helps when you've got what? I think he's got 3 cameras with him all the time, and then 20 full-time employees. That's just that's the level you need to be at if you want to be killing it. It's crazy. And Donut obviously is always on Facebook, so I see their stuff pop up all the time. They're the kings of organic video. Kings. One of these days, this shirt you can buy on shopwatchjrgo.com, Marcel. And one of these days, there will be the Not Like This shirt. Do you watch any detail channels? Maybe once a year, I watch Ammo NYC. And sometimes the guys from Chicago, you know who I'm talking about. Cletus once in a while, Auto Auction Rebuilds, plenty. Never Detail Geek. I think I've seen one of his videos pop up. As far as mountain bikes, I watch Burn Peak, and that's it. Just because I'm not really into watch Chicago Auto Pros, exactly. And yeah, Detail Geek once in a while, Video Bob, we're great friends. What do you think about Scar Audio? I think it's great for the price. So I was going to put Scar speakers in the Porsche, but Jake has a set, and he's like, these are junk. So they make what? They make great subwoofers, great amplifiers, and for some reason, he said their 6.5-inch speakers are horrible. And no, I don't ever watch videos in 2x speed. Never have. I just can't deal with it. I can't. Besides cars, motorcycles, and YouTube, what are your other hobbies and interests? Riding bikes sometimes. If you guys, we have talked about the bikes on here. Ceramic coating with Avalon King is easy, and that's why I highly recommend it. All my cars have Avalon King on them, and it works great. I can promise you guys that. It holds up for like a year typically, and it's so cheap and easy to apply compared to the professional coatings that, like, why wouldn't you? It makes it easier to care for your car. Obviously, Morel speakers would be great, but with me selling the car in like 3 weeks, I'm not going to put Morels in it. That's way too much money. Way too much money. Focal would be great too, but I'm not doing that either. You can see this is my carbon fiber Rubai right there. I love that thing. It's got like a cheap Amazon Light cat eye bike computer on there. I love Specialized. I love their full carbon bikes, and that thing is amazing to ride. It's got Shimano 105s, but one of my Jaguar cables broke the other day, so I gotta swap that out. That's what I typically ride, honestly, because it's so nice. And then I've got my Specialized Demo 8 right there. full carbon fiber. This has the all-in shock for the rear with the titanium spring, which is unbelievable. This build is unheard of. It's got D-Max wheels, specialized cranks, specialized carbon handlebar, Avid code, hydraulic brakes, disc brakes, obviously. That bike's off the chain. I think it has 8 inches of travel. It's not a 29er though. It's a 26. I wish it was a 29er, but that bike's out of control. It's pretty much as pro build as it gets. 180 millimeter or 108 millimeter rock shocks and all-ins. Yeah. So yeah, I go ride that every once in a while. But no, I probably won't ever make a bike channel. I just like to go ride every once in a while. And then of course I have my Specialized Cirrus. That's my hybrid. I bought that years ago. The only reason I bought that bike is because it was in the Fiat dealership. And I was in there looking at Fiat 500s just so I could play with them. And that bike was sitting there. And I was like, that is the most beautiful bike I've ever seen. It has matte blue paint. And I just had to have it. So I went straight to the dealership that put it in the Fiat dealership and bought it that day. So I've got insane miles on that bike. Insane miles. It's probably the bike I've ridden more than anything. And that's what I do to work out. But the carbon fiber Rubai is like the greatest bike I've ever bought. It weighs like 5-6 pounds. 6, I don't know. Crazy. Weston Champlin, obviously, good friend. So we hang out, watch his videos. Okay. So he sold the Durango, and Durrell didn't have a ride to get there, so he was out. Oh, so some people were asking what happened to Durrell. Basically, Durrell was, shooting everything for me, and it was great having him there. And then his car got wrecked, so I gave him the Durango. And then after like a month or two of him driving that, I needed to sell the Durango because there's just too many cars. So I did, and then he didn't have a car, so that's why he hasn't been around to shoot with me. I think he bought another car, but he's doing something else now. So I don't know what he's doing, actually. We talk every once in a while. But yeah, that's why Durrell's not shooting full time. And honestly, I needed a cameraman, but now I don't need a cameraman again. So that's, did you ever get your Iron Butt certified? I did not. All the receipts are still in there, but I never sent them in. Are mountain bikes only Walmart specials or professional grade? No, I think you have to buy pro grade bicycles. I mean, you don't have to. You can play with whatever you want. But the bicycle in the background is a Specialized Cirrus. And then my downhill bike's a Demo 8 2014. And my Rubai is, I think, the Carbon Expert. And I don't know what year the Rubai is, but that's what all the bicycles are. All I know is they're rock solid, and I like Specialized. I just like them. What happened to the Goldwing? Do you mean, we've talked about this on the stream, but you mean this Goldwing? That's what happened to it. What's your opinion on the RTX 4090? I'm not going to pay the $2,000 something people want for 4090s. I already have a 3090. So one of these days when they're cheap again, I will, I'll buy a 4090. That's all there is to it. Is there a JR and Lizzo collab in the future? Yeah, sure. Whenever Lizzo wants to get going on YouTube, I guess. It is the hype wing. It is the hype wing and not the flute duet. Well, I don't know how to play the flute. Honda NC70, great bike. Somebody melted the power connector. Yeah, so there's a lot of issues with the PCI Gen 5 connector. Obviously, if you guys you might know the drama behind that, but I think it's because of the data sense pins on the new PCIe Gen 5 connector. So that should all be fixed. Honestly, Cable Mod dropped a new connector today that should solve that problem. So there you go. Yeah, that dust panel is a lifesaver, guys. Do you still mine crypto? No, I stopped mining crypto about, when did it become unprofitable? 6 months ago. I finally turned it off like 6 months ago. But I think I paid for every single one of my graphics cards mining that crypto. The sweet, sweet crypto. It was good when it was good. It's not anymore. It's just dead. Will EVs drive the price down for used gas cars and trucks? No, it will just drive them down. I see obviously the cars that matter, exotics, classics, stuff like that. Those ones, or super pristine daily drivers, those ones are going to appreciate, obviously. Like if you go buy anything today and don't drive it, it will appreciate to the moon. But everything else, like all the normal dailies, will only depreciate all the way until they're worthless, until they get crushed. Savings code for Avalon King is WatchJRGo. If you just type in the promo code, and I think it's WatchJRGo. I always have to look it up. Have you had any Mustangs on the channel? Lots. Josh's. Oh, here we go again. EVs are the devil. Terrible risk, like a giant Note 7. First of all, EVs never have any issues that we've talked about here. And it's ridiculous. They're not just blowing up in your garage unless they were Volts with the bad batteries. How do you know when to redo Avalon King? When it dies, when the water stops beating. So if it stops beating or sheeting, then you just need to recode it. No problem. Is a new Grom worth it, or is used better? Used, for sure. I would not go pay the dealer fees on a Grom. If you want a Grom, I'll sell you mine. $3,000. It's right here. It's a 2020, and it will actually go 70 if you weigh what I weigh. So there you go. Hit me up. Do you have a Patreon? Yeah, it's WatchJRGo on there. Any update on the new shop? We've talked about that. We kind of talked about everything. I think we've been on here for quite a while now. But yeah, 2 hours. So Rocky Mountain Race Week in a Grom, there is. I weigh like 150. So yeah, full tuck. I can get that thing to 70. It has an intake, exhaust, and a flash DCU. That's all that's done to it. And it goes. And it keeps pulling. The rev limit's $10,000 on mine, which is unbelievable. Do you track cars? Yep. I sure do. Love track days. If I was going to buy a motorcycle, what should I start with? If you've never ridden before, I highly recommend the Navi. I just taught the girlfriend to ride on that. And for some reason, she is so confident already. After like 4 days of riding it, she's like, let's go on the street. And I'm like, no, let's not go on the street. Let's wait. It's very confidence inspiring. It's very good, very easy to ride. And if you have ridden before and understand, how to modulate clutch and throttle, then you should start with a Grom or just jump up to something else like a 300. Ducati 696. If you can find like a single, what was the old Harley motorcycle company? Sport bikes. Can't think of the name suddenly. Whatever. Buell. There you go. The Buell. If you can find a Buell Blast that's not destroyed, awesome. The Sportster is fine. All the little bikes are great. You'll be fine on any of those things. Ooh. Auto Auction Rebuilds is in here. What's going on, Randy? How many subscribers do I need to be a successful YouTuber? I don't know, man. I don't know. Honda 90 is great. The Navi isn't for sale. I did just list the 140 swapped 50 for sale. So that will probably go away soon. And the Navi will stay until the girlfriend doesn't want to ride anymore. That one's all for her. Honda Monocompo is awesome. Obviously awesome. No, the jet ski episode was 10 out of 10. I'll probably never do another jet ski one until I get some brand new ones that go like, 70, which is how fast I like to be going. Jet skis did horrible. Every single one of them. The first episode where we brought them in, even though it was the best deal ever, and the second one, horrible. NASCAR fan? I don't really watch NASCAR. Every once in a while I will. When they've got the Hooters Racing livery on there. 10 out of, so basically YouTube ranks your last 10 videos for you, and it's a rolling window, right? It's not really a definition of success. It literally is. The numbers don't lie. So 1 out of 10 is the best video you've made in the last 10, and a 10 out of 10 is the worst. And if you do a 10 out of 10, or even an 8 out of 10, 8 or 9 out of 10, or a 10 out of 10 is a bad downtrend. So you can pretty much guarantee that like it will just do worse over time. And if you keep doing that content, the algorithm will kill you even worse. So 5 out of 10 is where it gets good. And then 4 to 1 out of 10 is all that matters. So if the algorithm, so if YouTube tells you that your videos are doing, you know, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, what was the last? I'll tell you guys real quick, since you wanted to know here. What was the cab over from yesterday? The cab over from yesterday almost made it. The first one was really bad. Let me look at the list. Let's see. The first cab over, 7 out of 10, and then the second one, 6. But I lost so many subscribers on that one that it doesn't actually matter. I'm done with that. We're calling it. There you go. More shovel content. Yeah, I've got some good shovels there. But I need the new Fisker shovel. You guys know about the new Fisker shovel? That thing's amazing. I wish I could throw it on screen for you. But if you Google the new Fiskers, like whatever, not a square point shovel, but that point shovel, it's a fully welded aluminum or steel shovel. It's super lightweight and it digs like crazy. So there you go. What types of videos do best for you? So typically cheap cars, but obviously the cab over was a massive, no, not a spade, just a sharp point, whatever you call a sharp point shovel. Yeah, first Fisker scissors, shovels, and what's the other one? Their reel mower are all the best in the world. How does that happen? How does Fiskers make the best in the world of 3 things? They're just good. I think it's because they're German. No. The scissors company. They make shovels. Zach came over with it the other day. I was like, how's that thing dig? And I started digging a hole in my yard and I was like, this is awesome. Yeah. What's the daily driver? Honestly, the Porsche has kind of become the daily driver because it's in the garage. And I like it. I love driving it. And then I do drive the Volt a lot too. So it's between those two. But it's kind of between everything because it's all here at the house now. So I just kind of jump in it. Is the NFL wide receiver John Ross your favorite? Yes. Also, when people ask who I am, I tell them that I am the NFL wide receiver and I run the fastest, what is it, the 100-yard dash in the NFL too? Yeah, I think he ran the fastest 100. So yeah, that's the only NFL stat I know is that I personally run the fastest 100-yard dash in the NFL. So, if they want to think that, I'll let them think it. Big Jordan, you're not going to believe this. Wait till you see tomorrow's video. You still have the Ford diesel? Of course I do. Do you like Kanye? I don't know. That's a political thing, isn't it? We'll talk about politics here. How to prep for a second coat of Avalon King. Wash the car, hand wash the car, and then maybe do an alcohol wipe down again, but I think you could just overlay it right on the old one. It'd be great. Strong opinions on shovels. No more cab over content. I love the cab over. We have talked about this. But the analytics show that nobody likes the cab over. Sorry. It's just how it goes. Thought I was good old JR from the WWE. Now I'm not. Not from the WWE. What kind of sound system do you use at your house? Well, you guys have seen the shop one. Evid 6.2s in wall. And there's a 10-inch Polk sub right there, and it rocks. The shop is just great. And the side channel with Old Tech will be coming back with new cameras, and it'll be way better. And I'll probably spend way more time on the tech channel eventually if I ever get all that new stuff put together. And in the house, everything is Pioneer Elite and Pioneer Andrew Jones with an HSU research sub. So it's pretty awesome. Yep. The cab over is beautiful, but sorry. JR from the show Dallas. Nope, not me either. I'm the NFL wide receiver, John Ross. Anyway, guys, I said I was going to bed. Jump the cab over. When I jumped my Cavalier, which should have been, you guys saw, we jumped that Cavalier at like 40, 50 mile an hour. We got air in a Cavalier and had so much fun. And that video did horrible. So, It's not dumb stuff. It's not jumping cars. Jumping cars doesn't work. If anybody wants to get into that and they're like, well, all you got to do is go do something stupid and everybody will watch it. That's not true. Like if you go jump a car, it probably will not work. So uh maybe the thumbnail wasn't good enough, but the car was flying through the air in the thumbnail on that one and nobody watched it. So working on cars usually works, and jumping Cavaliers that are awesome and have underglow does not work. I can tell you that much. Jumping the cab over also will not work. I'm not going to blow it up. Blowing up cars doesn't work either, unless it's on like Demolition Ranch. Then it works great. Where do you see diesel technology going? I see it staying for all the big trucks. It will stay. Pose the cab over on a ramp like the current whistling diesel thumbnail. Yeah, but he actually did it. Like that's the cab over will not drive up that ramp. So I can't really do the same thing. Where do you see yourself on the channel 5 years from now? Doing the same thing. I've done the same thing for like 4 years. We've never changed the format. We buy cheap cars, we work on them, and that's it. I fix cars and we have fun. And I'm not, and it's never changed. And I'll keep doing the same thing. Say Vermont sucks. Don't clip that. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever even been to Vermont. I've been to almost every state, but I don't think I've been to Vermont. So, Stellantis Hurricane motor thoughts. Is that the new V6? That should be awesome. All the new V6s are really good. They're just building solid engines. They're replacing the old V8s. Is it worth going to a Z06 on the C5? Honestly, I'd buy a base model. I would buy a base model C5. The Z06 is great, but the base is so good. All my homies hate Vermont. Oh, it's funny. And I haven't been to Oregon either, though I haven't been to Washington, Oregon, and North Dakota, South Dakota. That's pretty much it. I've been to almost every state. All right. Are you going to join the Spicy Boys on the upcoming Express Rally? Alex, what's going on, man? If you guys give me an entry for the Porsche, I thought that was part of the deal. The Porsche was supposed to come with an extra entry to Express Essential 14 or whatever. Then I'll be there. We are looking at new shops. We got some ideas. We talked about everything. That's because you gave up on the cab over in the first half of the video. Well, yeah. Why wouldn't I? It wasn't worth fixing, but we're still going to fix it, and I'm still going to sell it, and we're still going to make money. So it's not like I really gave up on it. I'm just not going to spend $30,000 on it. Anyway, guys, like I said, we've been on for 2 hours. Time to go to sleep. We're always going to keep doing restorations and flipping cars. And it doesn't really matter what the car is. I'm just going to keep working on them. But I've built so many high horsepower cars. I've had so many cars with crazy horsepower. Like last year, almost every car I owned had 600 horsepower. So I really don't need to build any more in that range there. And SEMA, I don't know. We still know. Anyway, have a great night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Good times. I will talk to you all. Well, you'll see tomorrow's video. We'll be right back at it. It'll be a Porsche clutch or a Porsche stereo install or something fun.